business, the ideas that you have, that you put a lot of numbers to, are assumptions in many ways. You can't really tell if what you think will be a successful idea will be successful. So it's actually an expensive experiment to put a lot of capital behind an assumption. It's actually better to test your idea at a small cost, reducing the risk of losses, which then reduces the impact of capital. See, proving the theory is more important, and you can prove the theory with what I call low-hanging fruits in terms of capital. Money from yourself, if you don't have money from family, my auntie, my uncle, my mother, my father, my savings, and all of those things on a small scale level. And when you have a test of concept and you have proof of concept, which means that it works, you would find that always it's easier to then find people who become interested in putting a little bit more to support what you then want to do, either with some value to them, which shouldn't be a problem. Because another thing is, here we hold on to everything. Oh, it's my idea, why do you want to make money from it more than I? The person is giving you an opportunity to express what you want to do. You must understand that that is your opportunity cost. Giving a bit of the business out to someone who has the money that you need for what you've proven to be viable is your opportunity cost for bringing that dream alive. And you as an individual must also be willing to make that sacrifice. Now, there's a point where you will get to that you then become more attractive to bigger financial opportunities. Whether it's, now there are far more opportunities. You have your idea, you start to prove it and all of that. You start first with expensive money. Expensive money comes from like a microfinance bank. Why? It's expensive. But it's fine. It's also shorter term. Shorter term means that even though it's expensive on a tenured basis, because you get the money for shorter term, the interest you still pay is not that much. But compared to your not being able to do what you want to do at all. Now, the discipline is that if you're using more expensive money to push the dream, you learn to quickly retain the income of the business to help build the business and reduce the amount of expensive money that you make. But there are two things that you get from the expensive money. You get to prove your business idea and it's working. Two, you get to build a track record. A financial track record with a microfinance bank can be transferred to a commercial bank when you've grown your business to a certain level that you become a little more attractive to commercial banks, which are cheaper by nature than a microfinance bank. And that then increases. And even with the commercial bank, as your business grows, your cost of financing reduces. As your ability to negotiate increases, you become far more attractive. There are more banks fighting for your business than in the early days where you barely got one to even give you money and all of those. So there's a value chain in all of this.
How can agriculture and the agro-allied industry serve as a catalyst for socioeconomic development, if you agree that it can?
When you look at agriculture, you need to look at the value chain, the agro-allied, and new areas of businesses that are developing. When you look at like the food industry, the fast food industry and all of that, there's a major component of agro-allied opportunities attached to that. You imagine how many fast food businesses in Nigeria alone require like potatoes, either whole or chips. And for chips, there are businesses like pre-cutting the chips, peeling the potatoes, pre-cutting the chips, bagging them in commercial packs for fast food lines who consume it. All the KFC and the different brands that are coming in who need that to be consumed. You look at all the things they use Is it the chicken? Is it the this? Pre-cutting, preparing them in ways that they're ready to use. You look at our lifestyle changes. A young woman who gets married today, who also works in a bank or in any other company and doesn't close till 5, 6, 7, but in traffic doesn't get home till 8, 9, 10, cannot afford the time to start the preparation of a meal from the onset. So if she has a lot of things pre-prepared for her, it reduces the amount of time required. A bachelor living by himself can fry chips if the potato is already cut, peeled and cut and everything. And so where you don't even have a house help, or even where you do, based on all the many things that you have to deal with, you begin to see where the opportunities are. Oh, you want snails and all that. You don't want to buy the snail, crack it in your house, wash all the slimy thing off it. Somebody's already done that. It's ready for you to take out of the bag. Some pre-boiled, ready for you to use. So we're talking about many different things. And even when you're talking about agric, you're talking about like flowers. You look at our social, the economics of party, as Governor Fashola calls it, and you look at how many providers are within the party value chain. And you look at like flowers, the way we use flowers at big social functions in Nigeria. Half of them are smuggled into Nigeria because flowers are banned actually into the country. But why should we be importing flowers anyway? Look around us. We've got fertile ground. We can have greenhouses. So there's also a lot of technology around agriculture right now. Even if you don't have the right ground for something, you can grow it in a controlled environment with new types of investments going into that.
Financial literacy is obviously key to financial inclusion. What can we do to improve financial inclusion, especially for women?
Any woman who is economically engaged needs to understand the economics of money in itself, the management of it, the application of it, the gathering of it. Because one thing I found is a lot of women have handled so much money in their lifetime, but they've never understood what it is to build wealth. So, and it goes for, and it's men and women. It's not gender sensitive. There are many men who don't realize they've been millionaires 10 times over, but they can't account for $1 million at any point in time because they've never learned how to hold money. It just sort of passes through because of the way. So we need to deliberately educate people in financial management. And I think a lot of time it starts from us as well. As individuals, we have to seek knowledge. In seeking the knowledge, we have to seek understanding. As a people, we bring the knowledge to an early stage from schools. You teach kids about money from primary school. And you also teach them financial discipline by not paying for everything they need, but by giving them some amount of money to manage. Because now, they are responsible for the money. So they get into a store, they're excited, I want to buy this, and then they check the price. They immediately remember how much they have. Now, because they have to manage their money, they make choices. I don't want this. If I buy this one, I can't buy this. You're teaching them to consider that in life, you can't always have everything that you want.
It's time to take a break now. We invite you to please join us again after the break. You talked about your children a brief while ago. Many major corporations around the world started as family businesses. For example, Ford, Walmart, Samsung. But many Nigerian family-owned businesses do not make it past the second generation. You, for example, have been building your business since you were 25, and you must be thinking of handing it over to your children when the time comes. How can family businesses be built into enduring